When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl, just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hey Girl. I'm your girl, Kim with an E,
And I'm Yen.
and this is episode 80. We are actually 20 episodes away from 100. I can't believe it. And we're so glad that you are here. If you didn't know, Hey Girl is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Life can be complex and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we believe in the power of conversation, because knowing we're not alone is what helps us get through, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot live life by myself.
I know. And I'm so glad you're here with me. So I'm not
I
by
am
myself
too.
today.
No, you're not. It's good to be here, Kim. It's good to
Good
be
to
here.
have you. Good to have you back. And good to have those of you who are watching. Say hello in the comments if you are here. And we want to shout you out and welcome you to this very special episode of Hey Girl.
Yeah,
So, Yen, of course, all this month we've been talking about creative work. And I'm loving this conversation
I
because this is
know.
my whole world right here.
It is. It is. Yes.
Yeah,
And it's been really good. It's really been
yeah.
good. So I
I
don't consider myself artistic and by any sense at all. So I've been learning. Really, I have. I've been,
yeah,
yeah, my mind has opened up quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And I love creative work and it's my thing. But I think what I've enjoyed too is the lineup that we've had and the variety of creative fields that they each represent. So I've learned things as well.
Right.
Um, it's been a broadening of my own horizons. Of course, that first week we had Angela Brown, the just dynamic, vivacious opera singer who came out of Oakwood. So proud of how far she's
Yeah.
gone, and she
She's
really
done.
kicked us off with this idea of following your bliss. That was her word. I just kind of captured that because I thought it was so perfect. She's like, do your thing, basically, which is what this is all about. We're
Yeah.
telling those who love creative work, do it, right?
Right.
Don't deny that passion that's in your heart.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think I can't remember which guest you discussed this with, but you do come to a fork in the road where it's
yeah,
finances versus doing what you love,
yeah.
and you don't have
Hmm.
to give up what you love because you
Right,
have to earn, at the time, you have to learn, you have to earn your living. You
right.
actually can coexist and still do what you love and what gives you the life and what,
Yeah,
you know, is the breath that you
right.
breathe, I guess.
I kind
Yeah.
of feel like each guest has kind of said that in a different way. It's like you don't have to do, it's
Hmm.
not an either or. It's a
No,
both and, right?
absolutely.
Because whether your passion pays or not doesn't mean that you have to deny yourself of that. And
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
some have been able to, Angela Brown has been able to make a career of her passion, whereas
Right.
Vanessa talked about, not Vanessa, Kai talked about doing her day job first and kind of doing her makeup on the
Right.
side
Right.
until it became something that could sustain her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is
Hmm.
something that can be done, and it doesn't
Yep.
have to be a choice. And sometimes it's even better to have more than one thing going, right? We often think, oh, you have to do, once you pick, you have to stick with that and that
Right.
only. But
Right.
I think that, yeah, we're much more complex individuals than that. Even those who are technical and sciencey, techie people sometimes
Mhm.
have a creative side.
They do.
So
They do. I just
yeah.
want to say hey to Lisa. Cousin Lisa's
Hey,
on with
Lisa.
us.
Always can count on Lisa. I've been meaning to shout Lisa out. I'm going to do it now because it's on my mind. But she is like the super follower fan of Hey
She
Girl. She is the
is.
super
She
sharer. She
is.
always is here.
Yes.
She's always sharing our
Hmm.
posts and our lives. So
Hmm.
thank you,
Hmm.
Lisa. I love you, and I'm
Yeah.
so
Thank
happy to have
you.
you as a supporter of Hey Girl. I can count on, if no one else, I can count on Lisa James
She's
to be
great.
present.
She's
Um,
great.
So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to ask you, Yin, and
Okay.
those who are watching, since we're talking about following your passion and following what's in your heart, whether it's a creative field or not, my question is, are you doing what you love? This is to everybody. Are you doing what you love?
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question for me. Um, because I would say in general, what I love to do is help. So I love helping
Mm,
people. So it doesn't
okay.
that doesn't necessarily put me in one particular category or discipline, right? As
Yeah.
long as I'm
Hmm.
helping someone or a group of people, then I really
Hmm.
am fulfilled. So my answer would be yes. Because
Okay.
whether I'm in the office supporting my husband, or I'm
Hmm.
on with the boys with their athletics stuff,
Yeah.
as long as I'm helping, I'm really
Yeah.
fulfilled. I am. So
I'm
yes,
so
my
glad that you said that. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because we often assume when we talk about do you do what you love, we're talking about a profession. But
right.
that's not actually the only way to do what you love
Yeah. And it's
with a career.
and to
Yeah.
add to that, so didn't realize this as an adult, but I mean, excuse me, I didn't realize it until I was as an adult.
Yeah.
But growing up, I was always asked, what do you want to do? What do you want to be?
Yeah.
What are your hobbies? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And
Yeah. Yeah.
people around me had the passion, and they could
Yeah.
just, immediately knew what they wanted to do, but that sort of was not my story. I just
Yeah.
found what it is not necessarily in a particular discipline, and I didn't learn
Yeah.
that till I was an adult. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me either, actually. I
Yeah.
always assume that
Really?
what you do in your profession is
Right.
what we're always talking about. And so
Hmm.
I see Kim Jacobs, hey girl, in the comments. I asked, are you doing what you love? She says, absolutely. So my question is, what is that? Right?
Yeah.
Because let's break that myth that what our passion is or what we were purposed
Hmm.
to do is
Hmm.
only housed within a discipline, a field, a career, a job. Let's separate it from that and
Yeah.
connect it to who we are, who God created us to be. Because
There you go. Yeah,
that's really what we're talking about is
it's
who is the
true.
person that God created you to be and what is it that he created you to do?
Hmm.
Are you doing that? Are you giving
That's the
yourself permission to
question.
do that? And are
Right.
you valuing it as enough? Because you could
Right.
have easily have said, "Oh, well, my gift and my purpose is not, doesn't come in any particular discipline, and so it's not as important as say someone who's,
Hmm.
a lawyer or a
Right.
business person." And
Right.
so we need to
Right.
kind of disrupt that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it goes both ways. So it goes for the person themselves, right? For you to
Yeah.
not dismiss what it is that your gift is, if it's not
Yeah.
connected to a particular passion, but also for those individuals on the receiving end. So when you see an individual and you're
Yeah.
sort of asking, well, what is it that you do, or what
Yeah.
what are you great
Yeah.
at? And if they
Right.
say, I love making meals, I love blessing
Yeah.
people with meals, that
Yeah.
just as valuable as
Yeah.
the individual who loves to send space shuttles up into space.
Right.
It's
Shout
it's
out to
just a
Tanya.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Tanya. But you know what I mean,
Right.
just
Yeah.
not to undervalue what that gift
Right.
is, because it's just not
Yeah.
thought of as a gift. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And that is also something I had to learn as an adult because
Hmm.
especially being married to an engineer and you're married to a doctor, right? Those are
Yeah.
such important jobs. And so
Right.
I have all my life basically put my what I love and what I do up against the standard of what he does. And it seems so
Yeah.
small. It's not making that huge impact in the world. And people don't go,
Mhm.
oh, when you tell them what you do,
Yeah.
And
Not
so
not
it's
not much
really
wow comes from
yeah,
doing what
yeah. When you become an
right?
engineer, they're like, oh, that's so important.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to get to a place where you see what you do as valuable, regardless of how it looks in comparison
Absolutely.
to others.
Absolutely. Because everything can make an impact. If you can
Yeah,
make an impact on another person's life, a positive impact through whatever your gift is,
yeah,
that's the value.
that is
That's
it.
the value, isn't it?
Right.
Right.
Maybe you
Right.
can't put a dollar amount on that, but it
No, you
doesn't mean
can't.
it doesn't matter.
Kim
Mm-hmm.
responded, she said, I love my career, and but is in all caps. I also love creating beautiful things. Currently, she's making her own Christmas wreath and she loves it. And she does.
Awesome.
She comes
Yes.
to life when she's creating
Yes.
things with her hands.
That is
Yeah,
so true.
yeah,
Yeah. And she's good at it.
she's excellent. Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah. So that is what we are talking about today. So guys,
Yeah.
as you come in to this show, tell us in the comments what you love and are you doing it? And if you're not, what would it take to make it happen? What do you need to do to make it happen? Do you need to make a change in your life? Do you need to take a hard look inward and say, am I denying something because I don't think it's valuable, or
Mm,
because I can't make enough money, or because I'm not giving,
mm,
paying attention to it as much as I'm paying attention to the
mm,
kids or the husband or
mm.
the other responsibilities?
Right,
Think about what it would take. What's the change that
right,
needs to be made?
right. Do you believe in yourself enough to do it? Do you believe
Yeah.
enough in the gift that you've been given?
Hmm.
And I've heard you oftentimes even talking about just that self-doubt. I
Hmm.
think that's probably the biggest barrier, to tell you the truth,
It
is
is.
if you believe that you are good at what you do. Hmm.
Right. Huge, huge, huge for many, and often for creatives. I think
Okay.
that's a thing because it is seen as a lot of times as frivolous, as whatever, whatever. And so and then it can be so, creative fields can also be so subjective that
Hmm.
it's easy to be hard on yourself because you're like, oh, well, I do this creative thing, but it's nothing like so and so who's at the top of
Right.
all the, and so you just you can easily become very self conscious about
Hmm.
what you're doing too. And
Hmm.
it's interesting that we would say that. It's a nice segue to a little tease I want to offer for next month's show, because I think it kind of came to me as we were having these conversations this month.
Hmm.
Next month's show is all about how to get up when failure knocks you down.
Oof.
And that's something that we often experience as creatives, but not only creatives, of course. That when the thing doesn't turn out the way you hoped, or people don't love it as
Yes.
much as you wish they did, and that kind of
Yeah.
disappointment, and it can often lead you to defeat. We're going to talk about
Hmm.
that. We're going to dig into that a little bit next month.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be
So,
good because it's across the
yeah.
board.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So be sure to tune in. And then, we are coming down to the end of 2021. I can't believe it. We are literally in the final stretch of this
Yeah.
year. And man, where did the year go?
I don't know. I'm still trying to find it.
um,
I
yeah,
don't know where 21,
seriously.
where's 2021? I don't know.
I blinked and it was done.
Right.
Uh, but so next month, we're talking about failure. And then here we are in December already. This year, this December, we're going to actually come back to the marriage conversation and relationships
Oh,
in December. So it's the marriage edition returns for the holiday season as we wrap up this year. And we have each week, I'll have a different married couple to talk to us about how to
nice.
do marriage
Yeah.
successfully.
Nice.
that
Nice. I
that
like
that's one.
that.
Oh yeah, it's always a relevant topic. And I think,
Yes.
during the holidays it's nice to talk about home and family
Hmm.
and relationships. So
Hmm.
yeah, so be
That's
sure to tune
good.
in for that.
I look forward
And
to it.
yeah, awesome. So that's how we will round out the year, and we're wrapping up another season of Hey Girls. I said we're just a few episodes away from our 100th episode. I'm already thinking about March and how we're going to celebrate that. So
Celebrate big.
yeah,
Let's
we'll have to
celebrate.
come up with
Yeah,
something. I may have Eden make a cake or something.
at least.
At least. Guys, before we introduce you to our guests, I also want to remind you to sign up for the Just Kim newsletter, which comes out once a week. Motivation for the Monday, usually every Monday, get you to kick off your week on a positive note. The goal is to encourage you to just stay
Mhm.
in the fight, keep doing the thing, whatever it is. I give you a little heads up about our upcoming show and the guests that we have. And I usually try to add a free download as well, some kind of encouraging quote or maybe something for your phone. And on the first week of the month, I also send you that great calendar that you can download and make the backdrop or wallpaper for your computer. And so there's the one for this month, November. Great quote on there. It's not happy people who are thankful. It's thankful people who are happy. I love that quote.
Yeah,
So be sure to sign up so that you can get your stuff
that's
in your
great.
inbox. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
So
enjoyed reading them, so I'm so glad you started that. I really am.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad. And just a heads up, guys, if you are interested in signing up, please do. Like I said, I don't spam you. You get something once a week. That's it. And it's real short. Also, check your social folder or your spam. Sometimes just the way the algorithms rhythms are, it may not come into your main inbox. I don't know how it comes for you, Yin, but you may just
Well,
have.
I missed the first one. We didn't figure out what happened, but from then on, it
Mhm.
just comes in my regular inbox. So you're right.
Okay,
Something must
cool.
have happened for
Yeah.
that initial one, but
Yeah,
mm,
and you may have to change something like I don't know how everyone's email is. You may have to like say this is okay to put in the
right,
main inbox or
right,
something.
right.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, hey, listen, let's not waste any more time. We have a
Yeah.
special guest, our last guest of the month, the creative month, and I am so excited to introduce you
Yes.
all to this young
Yes.
lady.
Yes, she is great. Miss Vanessa Crockett is a Trinidad-born wife and mother of two, and she has a love for design and construction. With a bachelor's degree and master's degree in architecture from Florida A&M University, Vanessa helps people realize their design dreams. Her expertise also includes furniture design, construction, and refinishing. Vanessa's favorite quote is by Danny Castillo, and it states, "You had a purpose before anyone had an option. Keep going." Please welcome Miss Vanessa Crockett to Hey Girl.
Yay! Welcome. Hey,
Hi.
girl.
Hey, how are you doing?
We're
Great. We're so glad to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me on the
absolutely.
show.
So glad to have you here. What an awesome career you have. And I want to get into that. But I also love that quote by Danny Castillo. You had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. Keep
Yes,
going.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
That's exactly what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
yes, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so perfect. So tell me, Vanessa, how did you get started in this field?
Oh, well, I've been doing this for a long time. I really started my love for design really when I was in the Caribbean. I grew up in Antigua. I was born in Trinidad, but my roots are in Antigua. My parents are still there. So they were building a house. And we all got together as a family. I have a brother, an older brother. He's 4 years older than me. And all of us got together and we just designed this house. And it was a house from scratch. It wasn't one of these, builder grade houses
Mm-hmm.
where you
Mm-hmm.
pick a floor plan. No, we did it from scratch. And I think that
Wow.
experience just kind of, jolted me into the idea that, wow, I could really influence spaces if I just think about it, right?
Huh.
So
Yeah.
that kind of got me interested in architecture, and that's when I decided to go to Florida A&M to pursue a degree in it so that I can help others who do the same thing.
That
So
is so cool.
Vanessa, how old were you? You may have said it, but I didn't hear you. How old were
Oh
you?
no,
Do you
I
remember
didn't
that?
say. I was in high school. I was in high
Okay.
school, and in the Caribbean, we graduate high school at 16. So yeah, I
Okay.
graduated high school at 16. So I must have been about 14, 15, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
That we really started going in. Like our house has a circular stairs in the middle with foyer with fountain. Like we were going in.
My
You
goodness.
know, I just love the experience. I love doing it with my family, and it just kind of stuck with me through my years.
Wow. So you said that you're father did this kind of work, or what brought about the
No.
adventure of building your own house? Like, how did y'all decide that's what we're gonna do?
Well, in the Caribbean, it's a little different. At least back then it was. There weren't really
Uh-huh.
any developers per se. So you bought a plot of land and you designed your house and you got a contractor to build it. And that was it. You had your house.
Wow. Wow.
So that's pretty much what it was. My parents are doctors,
Yeah.
so they're not in the field, but they were building a house from scratch. We were in a rental, and when we moved to Antigua, we stayed in a rental for a couple of years, and then they decided to own. And that's really how you own. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
buy houses; they just have houses that they've built and passed
Yeah.
down through from generation to generation.
Wow. So Lisa's in the comments saying, "What,
Yeah.
Antigua? We're cousins." We might be able to trace some relation back.
I know, I
Possibly,
know.
possibly.
So,
So
Vanessa, I
cool.
do have a quick question about just your schooling. Were there many females in that discipline? Were there many people of color that were in that discipline? Just share that
Yeah,
with.
sure. So as the bio says, I went to Florida A&M University, which is a
Okay.
historically black college, right?
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
the architectural department our professors were predominantly white, and there were a
Mhm.
lot of Caucasian, well, mixed race, but a lot of Caucasians that attended as well as students. So even though it was a historically black college, there were still a lot of mixed race people or people of different
Hmm.
race that went to the architectural program there. Um, so and females, there were even less females, of course, than
Mhm.
males. The males
Right.
dominated, but
Okay.
Mhm.
I had a really good friend, Azizi Arrington Bay. Her and I and Shanti, we stuck together and we did everything together, and we became the president of AIAS and the vice president and the treasurer. Like, we tried to run things. Um,
I love that.
yeah,
What is
we made sure
AIES?
we stuck together and we did everything together. And the females that were there really were instrumental in just helping me understand that, because I'm coming from the Caribbean and architecture is not really something that you practice there necessarily, or you see a lot of females doing there. So I was
Mhm.
coming kind of not knowing exactly what it would entail, but just
Mhm.
being kind of happy that this is what I want to do. So being able to share with other females during that time was amazing. And then we had some amazing professors. Valerie Goodwin, she's amazing, amazing, amazing architect. She's also
Mhm.
a quilt designer. She does quilt shows in art exhibits all around the country, and
Mhm.
she's amazing. So she was the chair of my thesis when I did my master's, and she was very instrumental in just helping me just share my gifts a little more.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you said that you and your girlfriends took control of what was the organization? You gave the acronym, but what does it stand for?
AIAS. So AIA is the professional organization. AIAS is the student version of it. So we opened the school store, the architectural store there. We were
Okay.
sitting on interviews when they had interviews for new faculty members. We were sitting in the interviews. We were trying to be very instrumental in figuring out how to make this profession better, at least the school
Very
better.
good.
Yeah, the shout out in the chat for girl power. It's all about
Yes.
girl
Yeah,
power. They were like, y'all
seriously.
did your
Girl
thing.
power.
I love it. Yes. So
Yeah.
tell me what, Vanessa, have been your biggest challenges as you've come through this career?
Yeah, sure. So so I have a master's in architecture, but I never went on to get licensed in architecture. I worked in architectural firms, but I didn't. So finding my place with that
Mhm.
being said was a bit of a challenge for me. Self doubt was a
Mhm.
big challenge for me because I think being creative, I'm always creative. I know that I'm a creative person, but being able to convince other people that that mattered, I think that's
Mhm.
something that
Hmm.
I struggled with as I went
Mhm.
through. my earlier stages of my career. Even now, I still struggle with it. I'm a bit better now, but
Mhm.
just having to prove yourself almost, that's
Mhm.
always a challenge. I'm not really one that wants to prove anything to anyone, but I feel like
Mhm.
people question you a lot if they don't know. And it's hard
Yeah,
to ask questions, especially if you already have self doubt.
Mm.
right. Very
Mm.
true. Hmm. So how did you overcome those feelings of self-doubt and anxiety about what people thought?
Yeah, I stopped listening to people.
Come on,
I
say
just
that
stopped
again,
listening.
Vanessa.
I just stopped listening and
Yes.
that quote really means something to me. The purpose was there,
Mhm.
and I really had to realize that my purpose was there since before I met anyone, before anyone was critiquing me. This was
Yep.
something that was innate, I feel like was innate in me, a gift that God had given me. And why
Mhm.
am I looking at what other people think of me? Like, am I good enough? Am I clever enough? Am I fast enough
Mhm.
on my thoughts and what I'm doing? Am I creative enough? Because I think even in the creative world, right, there's still people that think, oh well, I'm more creative than this person, or
Yeah,
and this person isn't as creative as me. So really, you just have to
yeah,
stop and just do. Stop
right.
thinking, get out of your head, and just
Yep,
do.
Right.
so
Right.
true. Hmm.
So, before you came on, Kim and I were talking about some of the challenges when you have this passion, but you are also maybe needing to work, right? So you're not
Hmm.
100% in the working full time in the passion.
Yeah.
Where are you and how do you, because I know, but I'm going to ask, but where are you in that journey? But also, how are you balancing so that you are still fulfilled, in living what your in your purpose, I should say.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a really good question because I think that's something that I have struggled with as well. It's a secondary thing that
Hmm.
I've struggled with. Um, I work a full time job. I have a 40-hour a day job, sometimes even more. But it is not in interior design. But I
Hmm.
do so many projects. Right now, I have 5 projects that I'm working on. I do a lot of renovation projects. I do it in the evenings. I do it on the
Hmm.
weekends. I do it during my lunch break. Any free time I have. I have 2 kids, a 3-year
Hmm.
old and a 1-year old. So balancing time and just finding time to do everything sometimes become a challenge. But I feel like if you love something, you'll stay up till midnight doing it. Like if
Yes.
Hmm.
even though you're tired because you just put the kids to bed, you will push
Hmm.
because it will energize you and it will revive you. And I think that's what is with me. I'm energized and
Hmm.
I'm revived, even though I've had a long day and I'm like, oh, I know I have to do this thing for this client. I know I have to give
Hmm.
this presentation. I still do it. I
Yeah.
still push through
Hmm.
because I know that the end result, how my clients feel at the end of it all, right, is the thing that I
Hmm.
am striving for. I am looking forward to. So that drives me and pushes me and just encourages me to keep on going because I truly love it. I really,
Yeah.
truly love it. And it just
Hmm.
gives me life.
Yeah.
Hmm. I feel that. I feel that on all levels. And I'm looking at your work. I mean, Amanda is scrolling some of your pictures and it's like, gorgeous. Like, of
Yeah.
course, how can you not love, first of all, the result, but I imagine for you, the putting it together, the process of putting it together, and you're just so good at it.
Thank
Do you see this very soon becoming sort of the thing and the 40 hour, I mean the 40-hour week job maybe
Well,
becoming
Lisa said it's
less?
60 hours.
Huh?
Lisa James said it's more like a 60-hour week for her.
Right.
It's
Lisa
not there
James
I'm
yet.
knows me on that.
sure.
So yeah, I would love for it. I
Yeah.
actually recently. So again, I did a lot of work. I moved here from Florida to Huntsville, and in Florida, I did a lot of work. And here, I have a really good friend, Kaja and Adam. They had a renovation project that kind of started me off, really, in a sense of doing stuff for other people. I've done stuff
Mhm,
for
mhm.
myself a lot, but doing stuff for other people. They bought a
Mhm.
1980s ranch style home, and we took that thing from, horrible to amazing, just
Mhm.
day by day, step by step. And through a lot of word of mouth, I started to get a lot of jobs. So moving here
Mhm.
to Huntsville, it's kind of changed things again, even more, and elevated things. I've started a business. It's called Textured Home. You can look at me on Instagram, textured_home. But I'm starting to show my work. This year, actually, I started to show my work. I have lots of work. I've done this for many years. Before I moved here to the States to get married, well, before I got married, moved back to the States to get married, I worked for a company that did kitchen design, bathroom design, and closet design. So I was the lead designer doing custom
Mhm.
kitchens, bathrooms, and closets. So I have lots of years of service, but I didn't really show my work before this year. So I'm just excited now as I build my business. And yes, hopefully, eventually I will be able to step away from the 40-hour job and
Yeah.
do 60 hours in my own business.
Yes. I think it's high time. So you've just been
Yeah.
stockpiling all these beautiful things so that all of it now you can just roll it out and say, look at all this that I've done.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm actively, I'm working. I'm actively doing so much, but it's a
I,
good thing. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
There's
That is great.
there's
Yeah.
one component that you haven't mentioned yet, though, V, and that's your virtual consulting. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of people have asked me if I do a virtual consultation, and the answer is yes. I currently have a client in Florida that I just redid a bathroom for. I have, and she's on retainer. She might be on right now, but we'll see. Um, uh, and then I have another client in Nashville that is a ground up consultation. So I've been with them from conception, basically. They've been drawing plans for the past couple years, and they will start construction at the beginning of the year. But what I kind of specialize in is spaces and how people can really utilize their space and how it can influence the experience that they have in that space. I believe that space is something that can be meaningful, and if you add character to it, it can become a place for you, a place that you remember, a place that you feel welcomed, and a place that you feel like you just want to be in. So I really like to start people off with the floor plan, right? So it's not just
Mhm.
about putting furniture, and it's really looking at the space and analyzing space and seeing if it's too small a space for you, too big a space for you, if
Mhm.
maybe this would be a better experience as you walk into the space, or if you think that, or if there would be an alternative way of living. So that's
Mhm.
really what I kind of look at. So with the virtual ones, yeah, I'm doing the one in Nashville. I have another in Atlanta that I'm helping with. So with virtual consultations, it's a lot of FaceTiming, it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of text messages. And they call me and text message me all the time, just asking questions. Usually, I give them a presentation on what I think they should do, and it's really like a conversation back and forth. But if you do
Mhm.
need that service, that's also available.
So I have a question for you. What are some of the misconceptions that people might have about what you do?
Um, I think one of the misconceptions, a lot of people say, "Oh, so you just decorate?" I can do that myself. You know,
Mhm.
I do decorate, but I feel like I try to influence people's psyche. And I think that's
Mhm.
important. I think that people don't realize how much their environment can affect how they feel. Um,
Mhm.
Life is lived by your experiences, right? And part
Mhm.
of your experience is your environmental experience, your surroundings, how you feel in your surroundings. There's a writer called Edward Hall who says that we live in an automated life. We live
Mm,
Mhm.
in such an automated life right now that we're kind of
Mhm.
desensitized. and indifferent to materials that are around us. Like we don't pay attention to the materials around us. We don't pay attention to the things that are around us because
Mhm.
we are desensitized because of the automated life that we live. So I kind of really, they're decorators that do an amazing job, but I am different in a sense because, and that was a struggle for me to figure out what my difference was, what made me different.
Mhm.
But I'm different because I really try to look at how people live in their space. I really try to see how
Mhm.
people live, how people love, how people interact, and really influence that and create spaces that people just want to come together as a family, to love on each other, and to just
Mhm.
be at peace with themselves.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that I think that emotional and psychological impact of our spaces and our surrounding cannot be overemphasized. I mean,
No,
that is
no.
really a thing. My
Yes.
my family knows that in my house, I'm burning candles all the time. When I tell you a
Yeah.
candle burning is a spiritual thing for me, like it seriously is. It seems like such a small thing. My husband can't understand why I spend so much money on candles every month, but thankfully he doesn't stop me because it's so I feel it here, like
Yeah.
it brings my stress down. It
Does.
Yeah.
helps me to focus. Sometimes I'll light a candle just to focus my attention
Yeah.
on whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't think we can discount that. And Yin, you were speaking yesterday about
Yeah.
you've experienced the beauty of Vanessa's work, and you
I
talked about the
have.
impact that
I
it has had.
have. Yeah, I'd love to share that with you. She, in two spaces actually. So we redid our bathroom because we had a leak in our shower, and she helped. My bathroom is not very big. It's just a square. It's not very big. And she created, I feel like I'm at a resort.
Mm.
So I go into my bathroom, I close that door, I
Hmm.
Yeah.
put the correct lights on. I turn on, she put a fireplace in my bathroom, y'all. I turn on that fireplace, I turn on that shower, and I am at a spa. So
You're
I at
somewhere
least
else.
have 15 minutes or so, depending on who's going to knock on the door, of just feeling like I'm not at home. And it
Yeah.
is. It's just a great place to wind down. She also did my office, and
Hmm.
that was from the ground up. And she designed it, and it's interesting, because I too thought I can decorate a room just fine, um,
Hmm.
but but what she created was an environment for me. So I don't know how
Hmm.
to create that environment, but she created an environment. So when I step into my office, it's that same feeling of like, I sit in my chair, I have pink and
Hmm.
white around, I feel like a girl, and
Yeah.
I'm productive because my environment is peaceful. It's a peaceful
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah.
that I know I couldn't have created that on my own. I just could not
uh-uh.
have. No.
There,
And
there,
so, yeah,
there's a
there's
special skill to being able to create those kind of spaces.
it's
Yeah,
a
there's
complete,
actually,
complete, yeah.
it's funny because the same one of my same classmates, Azizi, that we were talking about, she is in Indiana right now, and she teaches in a school. She teaches in a program that is a degree in interior architecture. So she called me when she got that job, and she's like, Vanessa, I got your perfect job. I got the job that you would have wanted. But it was there is
Yeah,
such a thing as interior architecture where you're not
Um,
looking at the building, you're looking at the building structure, but you're
yeah,
also looking at the interior spaces and
yeah,
how you can influence through the things that you select, the hard things that you select that stay in a space that aren't going to be movable,
right.
how that influences people,
It
and
does.
yeah, I love it, I'm all
Yeah,
for it.
makes me happy.
oh
Yeah.
man, and think about your office, Yin.
Yeah,
It's a doctor's office,
it
right? So people
is.
are coming there who are sick, who are maybe have some anxiety about coming to the doctor,
Right.
right? So to walk into that lobby and see that beautiful space and to feel like you're almost stepping into a garden or something. It has to do something to patients who are coming in who are physically ill or maybe mentally not well, that just kind of calms them
Yeah.
and puts them in a good mindset as they
Yeah.
go in to see the
Right.
doctor.
Right. And
Yeah.
that was that whole process, working with Vanessa, it forces you, she forced me to answer the question of what environment, what feel are you going for? Because we all have our particular styles,
Yeah.
right? So if I was
Right.
left alone, I would have designed that office to look like my house because it's just your style, right? But she
Right.
kept asking, what feel do you want? So when someone is
Yeah.
sitting in the lobby, what feel, how do you want them to feel? And with that, I mean,
Mhm.
her mind just kept going
Yeah.
and going and going. And so that is the gift, like what we were just saying. It's not just a
Yeah.
space that you're designing, you're actually
Mhm.
creating an environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And this is also making the case for people like her, right? Like we actually do need them. Because you
Right.
may have an idea of what you want to, the feeling, blah, 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 but she actually then can make it happen. And I don't know that you could have, or I certainly wouldn't have been able to make it. I kind of know, have a feeling, but I would have been scrambling to try to make it, like actually make that thing come together. And I think that
Yeah.
having someone like her with that expertise and that
Right.
skill, along
Right.
with whatever you're trying to achieve,
Right.
you can actually make it happen.
Well,
And
I
being
think,
And
able
how
to,
many?
yeah.
Go ahead.
oh,
I was
I was
just
saying,
gonna
I
say
think
real, oh,
too
go
that,
ahead. Sorry, V.
oh, sorry. I think
Go
too,
ahead.
some people don't know what they want to feel in a space. So as Yen said, I had to ask her multiple times, like, okay, I understand, but what do you want it to feel like?
Yeah.
Like color is one thing, but what do you want
Mhm.
to feel? What is the
Yeah.
space supposed to feel like? When you walk into the space, do you want it to be to energize you? Do you want it to calm you down?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mhm.
do you want to feel
Mhm.
engaged with your patients as they come
Right.
in? That changes things.
Mhm.
That changes a lot. Just by
Right.
answering
Yeah.
the questions, it really helps me understand how to design a space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I was
Yeah.
gonna say you also have to trust the person, right?
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
have to, I trust her judgment, and I at times had to say, just stretch me, like stretch my
Mhm.
mind and my
Mhm.
natural taste for things, and it would be like, how about this? I'm like, oh gosh, that? Are you sure? And then she would say, trust me. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
So I mean, it is really a relationship that you end up having with this person that you're trusting with this
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And you trust their talents, and they know, I mean, she knows how far to take it. She knows, like,
Yeah.
definitely didn't want black in the bathroom. So she knew definitely not to do, even though there were times where she was like, how about this black?
Yeah. I was trying. It didn't work.
But you know what I mean? She was like, we're gonna get black in there. But but trusting it, because that's
Yeah.
when, in my opinion, my mind was able to open up to different
Mhm.
design that I normally would not have been
Mhm.
drawn to. Yeah.
Right. Right. I was just going to say earlier, how many of us have rooms in our house? Maybe it's our whole house, maybe it's every room in the house that you walk in and you're just like, ugh, right, like this is not it.
Yeah.
I have so many spaces
Yeah.
like that. And I'm just like, but yeah, and I'll have a day where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something about this, and I'll clean and I'll move stuff around and I'll, like put a different picture on the wall. And it's like, okay, that was better, but still not there. And so I feel like when
Yeah.
I look at these images of Vanessa's work, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what's missing. I
Mhm.
need her
Mhm.
to come
Yeah.
tell me how to make this space feel different. Because when I walk in, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
this is not it.
And I mean, sometimes I think also, uh, depending on the project, sometimes it's that just doing the decor stuff. Sometimes it's okay, if you really were to just move this door over here a little bit
Yeah.
or move this wall back a little bit, which people then look at me kind of sideways like, no. But I'm telling you, because it has happened countless times. I'm doing a bathroom right now for a client, and they wanted a new bathroom. They wanted a big shower and all these other things. And I designed it on a 3D image for them to show it to them,
Mm,
and they were
mm.
like, I don't know if that's gonna fit. I don't know. But they trusted. Again, what Yen
Yes.
says is true. You
Yes.
just have to trust the process. It's coming out. I want to stay in that bathroom. Can't wait to
Yeah.
post about it. But
Oh
um,
man.
I think yes, you have to trust the person. You have to look at your space and understand how you want to feel in your space, and be okay with change. Nothing
Mhm,
is inevitable but change, right? So
mhm, mhm.
Yes.
open, be open, be open. That's all I have to say.
That's true.
Well,
That's
we have
true.
some comments, and I'm going to see if I can scroll back up. I see a lot of comments coming through. My girl says Kaylin Brown, shouting out to Vanessa from Antigua. All right, so proud of you, she
He said, so
says.
proud of
Wow.
you.
Yvonne Taylor says awesome.
Hi.
Kim Jacobs, just decorate, shaking my head. Seeing a design in your head and bringing it to life isn't just decorating. You see things that others can't see. I
But
believe that so much.
Yeah.
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 Deborah says, Vanessa, you are so amazing. Keep trusting God. He got you. Marion Crockett, good job, Vanessa, on stepping into what the Lord has for you.
That's
Yes.
my
Um,
mother-in-law. My
I
Oh,
figured.
mother-in-law. Yay.
Lisa James says, I definitely need her.
mother-in-law. Thank
Hey Yolanda, I see you out there. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I think we could
Yeah.
all probably say we could use Vanessa's help somewhere
Yeah.
in our
Hey.
lives.
just email me and we will start a conversation.
I have a question for you, V. So you two, you have your own style, correct?
Yes.
So when you are working with a client, do you have a challenge of not allowing your style to sort of influence, or do you have a
Mm.
signature in everything that you do that is sort of like, yeah, that's a Vanessa. That's a Vanessa, whether
That's a
it's
good
Yeah.
color
question.
or artifact or something. Like, is there?
Hmm. Signature
So
Vanessa.
a
Yeah.
signature Vanessa. So at the moment,
Mhm.
I feel like no. So a signature Vanessa would. So typically, when designers have it, or architects, any type of designer has a signature. I think it's when they are more popular, if that makes sense. So because
Okay.
I'm
Mm.
starting off. Um, Designers can design in a numerous amount of genres, okay?
Okay.
So they
Mhm.
know how to do it. Some may not
Okay.
like doing it, but they
Right.
understand. Once you understand the concept of design, you can
Yeah.
design in different genres. Like you don't
Okay.
have to, or
Mhm.
different styles. You could be
Okay.
modern, you could be traditional, you could be whatever.
Okay.
Mhm.
People tend to not like certain types. So they say after a while, like, okay, you're coming to me for this look.
Hmm.
So you're going to get
Mhm.
only this look from me.
Mhm.
I'm not that type of designer. I feel like, again, because I'm trying to influence people's experiences and
Mhm.
the way that they interact with their environment, right? And their
Mhm.
surroundings, I'm trying to make a meaningful place for them. I'm
Right.
trying to make a space in which they're going to remember and it's going to have meaning to them. It's not just going to be a space that looks good. It's not just going to be a space that it's going to feel good. So in
Right.
order to
Mhm.
do that, you can't really have your own signature and, oh, this is all you're getting is my signature. You kind of have
Mhm.
to look into. I feel sometimes like like I'm a psychologist in a sense, because I
I
really
Mhm.
think
try
so.
to get into the
Mhm.
client's mind and
Yes.
understand them
Hmm.
and really understand them. And I think in doing that, you really have to just design based on if they're modern or if they're traditional or if they're
Yeah.
transitional or if they're eclectic, you kind of have to look at what their needs are and take yourself out of it. Because that's what they're
Yes.
coming to you for, right?
Yeah.
For you to
Right.
help to improve their space.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so yeah, that would be my answer for that one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And you think about it, I mean, these are spaces where they are going to have to live, right? You'll be
Right.
long gone and they still have to exist there. So if it's
Yeah,
your space, if it looks like you, then they will never feel at home there. And that would be
Right.
completely counter to what you're
yeah,
about. And
Hmm.
yeah,
I think that's so important for you to be able to offer that to people, to give them what they need and what they will benefit from, and not, make it your space.
Yeah.
I think about what Kai Glover does with makeup, right? Like her job is to make them look like
Amazing.
a better version of themselves, not to look
Right.
like
exactly.
someone else.
Right.
She did
Right.
my
Yeah.
makeup for the photo shoot that you're seeing, the pictures. Amazing,
Ah,
amazing.
Amazing. She's just
yeah.
amazing.
She is
You,
amazing.
I mean, seriously, yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you did Gianna's space also?
Yes, Gianna's space, her studio,
Yeah.
did that when she when I first moved here to Huntsville. We were sitting at the dining room table, and she was like, "V, I want to start. I want to have a studio. I want to open a studio. I'm thinking of a space." So I was like, "Gee, just show me the space. What does it look like?" And that picture you see right there is what it looked like. Right? It was
Uh-huh.
bones. It was nothing. And she's like, "Vanessa, but I don't know if this space is going to work for me." That's the key question that gets my wheels turning. And I just get excited when people ask me that question. So I started drawing stuff. I still have the piece of paper with the little sketch that I did. And I said, I was like, "No, you could do it. If we do this, 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 you could
Yes.
get a dressing room, you could get a bathroom," because it was nothing. It was just a blank.
Mhm.
So you can get a dressing room, you could get a bathroom, you could get this
Nice.
much space. Will that work for you? And that's kind of what started, yeah, our conversation at the dining
Yeah.
room table, and it became something real a couple
Oh
months later.
man. It's amazing too. You walk in there, you're just like, oh, this is
You-
so beautiful.
It's true.
And I love it. I love the intersection of all of you all's creative skills, Kai, Gianna, you, and the ways in which you're able to help one another,
Oh yeah,
and what you do complements what the other does, and just back to the sisterhood, right? It's so
It
awesome,
is.
and how you all are just thriving in your gifts, and how your gifts are blessing one another. I mean, that's
yeah,
everything.
yeah. I definitely appreciate my female creatives, that have the same kind of goals, the
Yeah.
same insecurities. Like Kai and I, when we were doing the makeup, we are just talking, and we're talking about just the insecurity of stepping out on
Mhm.
faith and doing what you love to do, and
Mhm.
just pushing it, pushing the
Hmm.
envelope. A year ago, I probably would have said, "Oh no," because I'm an introvert by nature.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't typically, again, like to share my work,
Mhm.
share. I feel very vulnerable when I do that. So,
Mhm.
the conversation that we had, and Gianna and I, we've had millions of conversations about that, but we do have a good camaraderie. And G always has my back, and I always have hers. I'm ready for her next step, whatever that is. I am ready for it, and will help her every step of the way if she needs an interior
Yes.
to do it.
Awesome. I love that. I love that so much.
Oh,
That whole sisterhood thing is just great. And with that in mind, I'm curious if you have, as we wrap this up, we're actually almost out of time. What advice do you have? Because you just spoke about how you have had to come to the place where you're comfortable putting yourself out there, showing people your work, etc. So what
Mm.
advice do you have for others who are looking to do similar work?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I think, again, it's just drowning out the noise. And
Mhm.
sometimes that noise is your own noise, right? Your own noise in your
Mhm.
own head. And just
Mhm.
doing, like, just do it. It doesn't matter if you fall, you can
yeah.
still pick yourself back up. It's not failure. Failure is not the end.
That's
Even if
right.
Mhm.
you fail, even if something wasn't as good as you thought it would be, don't
Mhm.
worry about it. Learn from that and keep on moving. I kind of started thinking of this philosophy, the perfection of imperfection, right? So I'm imperfect,
Mhm.
but it's perfect for me. It is who I am. That's perfect for me. My imperfections are
Mhm.
perfect for me. So I don't have to worry about and compare myself to others. I'm just going to do. I'm just going to get up, get out, and perform as
That's
best as
right.
I can. And that's the best that I can do. And that's all I have. I don't have any more than that, you know? And I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
what everyone should do. Just get up and
Yeah.
perform. And don't worry about, put your head down, work, and don't worry about what others may say and others may do. And just
Mhm.
know that, you don't have to be perfect. Life is not perfect. We have all these imperfections in life. Design is not perfect. You'll never reach a point where it's perfect. And, just keep on going. Just keep on being creative. Keep on trying. Keep on learning, because learning is ongoing. I am always trying to learn how to do a new technique for something. With my DIYing, I'm learning how to reupholster. I'm learning how to weld. I'm learning how to use woodworking. I have a whole woodworking shop in my garage. My husband hates it because it gets all done. But I'm trying new, always trying new things, always try to learn.
I love
Oh
that.
man, that is
That is
so
great
good.
advice. Lisa says, great advice. Yvonne says, what a word of encouragement. Thank you. Who else? Gianna says, if you fall, learn from it and keep on going, keep on moving, drown out the noise, even if it's your own noise. I love that. That's tweetable. Drown out the noise. Yes. Follow your dream, and passion makes all the difference in which you have done. South Florida loves you. That's Kimberly Davenport.
Ah, yes. My South Florida
Yes.
family.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Gianna says V needs a show on HGTV. Hey,
he
speak that
does.
word.
Someday,
Speak that
someday,
into
maybe, maybe.
existence. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for being here. This has just been a joy.
Thank you for having me.
And
Yes.
such good advice, such inspiration. And yeah, I will be calling you later. uh, I can tell you now, I definitely need you and your help in this house. So you
Awesome. Awesome.
look for a call from me soon.
I'm looking forward to it. I would love to help you. I love helping people. I love helping people and just getting them to a place that they're happy. So I'm all for it.
Awesome. I can't wait. All right, thank you. So we're going to go now to our scripture for today, and it comes from Romans 12, verse 2. Let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And Yin, I feel like that was the perfect verse for today
I
because
agree.
we talked about exactly that,
Yeah.
changing our thinking,
Yes.
accepting what God's will is for us.
Yes.
Um, so good. This was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in addition to the text, the scripture that you just read, felt like we had some really good comments in the comments section,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Really, to drown out the
Hmm.
noise, even if it's your own. You
Yeah.
fall, get up, keep going,
Yeah.
lots of encouraging words there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Mhm.
everything that Vanessa said really resonated with
Yeah.
everyone. We can all identify in some way
Yeah.
with the need to do that,
Yeah.
renew our minds.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so
Yes. This has been
yeah,
good.
so
This
good.
was
It was a
great.
perfect way to end because, as I said, because she had such a great story, and also because what she also talked about is what we're going to continue talking about next week, which is overcoming failure
Yeah.
and picking ourselves back up when things don't go as we planned.
Yes.
So it's perfect. It was a perfect way to end and lead in to
Yes.
next week.
Very good.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
thank
Awesome.
you, Yin, for being here with me today.
Absolutely. Yes, it
Always,
was good.
always a pleasure. And
Yeah.
speaking of next week, our guest for the first week of November will be Carlicia Swan,
It'll be
who is all
good.
about empowerment.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to having her here to talk to us about bouncing back from failure. She's
Mm.
going to be the perfect guest to kick us off with this conversation and next month's theme. So I look forward to you all joining us. And Yen, I know you
Yeah,
won't be here in front of the camera, but I know you'll be in the comments.
I will
So
be there.
I can't wait to see you
Yeah.
and everyone next week. Until next time, God bless, and don't be afraid to follow your dreams.